What do we got here? Manoj, Emery, Jeremy, UK, to the United States, to India on a Friday. It's a Friday. We're ready for the weekend, right? How's everybody doing out there? It's hot right now. It's 100 degrees. I don't know what that is in Celsius, but it's hot. Damn, it's hot. HTO kid, what's happening? It's not funny. Bo Leff is in the house. Michigan in the house. That's where you're from. I'll remember that. Homie Brandon on the East Coast. Good to see you guys. I figured today's topic would spur some interest. Rad, you should grab the top hat. It's over here. That's over there. It's too hot, right? When I wear that damn thing, it is hot. It's made of felt or beaver. And it's hot. Those guys back, you wear them in the cold because it'll heat your head up. Anyhow, Tampa, Florida. I love St. Pete. And Tampa's pretty cool. I used to go and visit Tampa General Hospital when they were in account about a decade, 12, 13 years ago. Great area. Let's see. The future of marriage in this decade and beyond, says Bo Leff. None. He might be right. Being rich means having a very warm head. I tell you. Mr. Wilson, all the way across the pond. We got some gents in here. Good to see everybody. Well, that's the reality. What is the future of marriage? Marriage will continue. It'll continue. It's not going away anytime soon. It'll probably take a couple generations to completely shut down. I think it's going to be an institution of the rich eventually, just because they can afford divorces. I think that men and women right now, if you look at the education of women, it's 63% to 0%, or 63% of all college students are women. Women are becoming more educated and making more, the same, if not more money than men. Now, that imbalances relationships. When a woman earns more and a man knows it, the man does not like that, regardless if he's an engineer, if she's a doctor. I've never seen a very successful relationship, me personally, when a woman makes more money, ever. There's something about the provider, protector mentality of most men that want to take care of their family. So that imbalance is going to cause issues. Okay, we got that imbalance. You're going to see different pockets around the world of people getting married still. Here in Utah, 20-year-olds get married. It's still pretty prevalent. A lot, but it's part of the religion, the culture, and so forth. So you're going to see different pockets like LA, Miami, New York, Chicago. I doubt if marriage is going to be very big there. You're seeing the increase in women living with men and having babies and the decrease in marriage. There's been some statistics on that. What's Bo say? Of course, marriage will continue, but its future is bleak and certainly not getting better. I would agree 100%. It's a way to secure assets for the state and ladies, so it'll probably continue for a while, but just decrease per capita amongst the working and middle class. Yes, exactly. There's a lot of young people getting married out here. Some split quick. The rare few make it. I would agree, HDO kid. And the other deal is you're going to see kids want to basically show their parents and those around them that they can maintain a marriage. Now, my hat's off to those kids that want to get married at 25 and buck the trend. Good for them. But what's the reality? Eventually, familiarity breeds contempt. When you're around each other a lot, it breeds familiarity, and familiarity breeds contempt. So there's going to be struggles, power imbalances, issues, the exact same thing, regardless of your desire to maintain a marriage. It's much easier to follow the pack and find yourself outside of a marriage and get divorced. It's more easy to put yourself first in this day and age. So let's say they do get married. They're committed. They're going to have a traditional marriage. Well, I was in the same boat. And guess where that ended up? The odds are stacked against them that they will have a successful marriage. Why? Because society and the culture has shown them that divorce is quite easy to get. And if you're not happy, you can go eat, pray, love, and find your way to a happier pasture, right? So we got that issue. I'm happy. I learned at 19 that marriage was a scam. I'm 21 now and extremely optimistic what I can do in the next 20 years. Damn right you are. Good for you, Nathan. The word marriage will soon be a lost language. Polyamory seemed to be on the rise. That's interesting you say that. That was part of my talking points. Because they can't get married, women are turning, there's a lot of bisexuality going on, whether that's a trend, they're becoming polyamorous. Typically the polyamorous gals are very, the ones I have seen a couple years ago, just checking out a dating app, they're heavier, they're feminist type, because what guy wants that, right? Really, no strong man wants that sort of, and so they have to resort to polyamory and, being bisexual and so forth because a normal man doesn't want them. And if they do get a man, he's I wouldn't even call him a simp. He'd be a sub-simp. So there you go. Additional women are reportedly starting to marry themselves. Yes, you see that. You're seeing wacky stuff where they marry themselves. They marry their whatever. It's still for attention. They want attention. And that's why they do it. You're seeing that women are becoming more educated. What does Manu say? Hold on. I jumped over here. In India, it's only 55% of men are interested in marriage. Rest are not interested in marriage. Very interesting. And India has how many people? Tons. We got Bolef. 55% only in India. I thought it would be still much. I thought the same thing just because of arranged marriages. Women are also divorcing their husbands for carrier in India. Stephen Greco. I think the bottom line is an adherence to strong traditional values wanes, then the integrity of marriage wanes as well. Boom, hit it on the head. Everyone goes into marriage with the idea, or at least men do, with the idea that they want to go the distance. They want to have kids. They want to build a family, a network, a foundation, posterity. And the reality is when you get married young, people change so much, especially when you have kids. And the roles of you as a husband and wife now morph into mother and father. That completely disrupts the whole romance and everything. It's very difficult to have that romance or to go back to what you were in that honeymoon phase when there's kids. It's just reality. Now, do men and women want that? No, but that's just what happens. The newborn take over. The amount of attention you have to give to babies is out of control when after the end of the day, you're tired and the marriage wanes. Right? Well said, Stephen. T-Talk L-Bags, marriage is the modern day Nagasaki. Be warned, gents. It's a game that has very high risks and extremely low rewards, especially in today's culture and environment and laws and hive-minded thinking. Remember, if you're unhappy, you can divorce the husband and move on and go eat, pray, love, right? You can go find yourself. You can mingle with other women. But the reality is most women that divorce do not marry very quickly, if not at all. It's the man that's in charge. And the more men that get divorced are not playing in the game anymore. It's as simple as that. Because they have no choice, they have to share men because they don't know how to keep one interested. Correct. It's not funny. The homie says the marriage will continue to decline. Women are marrying their best friends. I'm seeing a trend of women proposing to men and getting rejected. Yes, that is a very interesting. Again, the whole gender dynamics is completely flip-flopping. Women are proposing to men. Women are earning the money. Women are becoming men. Men are becoming women. Sad. Fell up in the house. I don't see the guitar. Oh, it's over here. It's taking a nap right now. I was playing it earlier. But thanks for that shout out. My brother is in the Army and married, and he's miserable. Ooh, military guys, they have issues with marriages just because of their deployments. It's a very high infidelity rate, very high issues when they get back. Women do not want to be wives. They want to be brides, says Mr. Gray. I would agree with that statement 100%. Why? Because the attention is more palatable. To be a bride, everyone surrounds you. They're beautiful, and they are beautiful on their wedding day. Let's be real. They look great, but the whole focus goes straight to them. Where's the groom? 5% of the equation in a wedding, right? It's all about the brides, the bridesmaids, the toss of the corset, the pictures. It's all geared towards that woman is a princess on her day. And that's how it's been. That's how it always will be. But the reality is, once that day is over, now we see that cell phone battery, which was 100%. Now it's 99.97% the next day, 99.96 the next day, and so forth. It goes down. Now, it might hover at 99 for 6 months, but then it's going to drop significantly on that next update, that next software update, to 84%. What's the software update in weddings? When the dopamine wears off. That's the software update. I guarantee if anyone's got iPhones, I have an iPhone. Every time there's an update, I decrease my battery significantly. You can only go 3 updates with iPhone until you need a new phone, FYI. So don't update it that much. But that's the issue. The next update in a marriage is significantly detrimental to the state of the marriage. Once your income drops, divorce is a call away. Well said, Manoj. Truth to be the brides and wives comment all the glamour, but want none of the work. They used to want to be wives back in the 30s and 40s. There's magazine articles dedicated to. Oh, damn, it's hot. I had the AC on. I got to turn the fan on. Hopefully, it's okay. There was articles and books and TV shows about the woman being a wife, taking care of her husband. But as we know, it's over. That's no longer the case. Off, your weekend starts now. RP forever. Checking gadgets. Jordan Peterson did a piece that talked about women trying to take on the man's role as a provider, breadwinner, how it absolutely destroys the dynamic of the marriage and children. Too much independence. It just doesn't fit the gender roles. And if any women are watching, it just doesn't make any sense. Why would a woman want a man to do a woman's job and a man and vice versa? It just does not make sense. It flips all the narratives. It flips the whole programming. It's like the deer hunting the human. We hunt the deer. That's how it's gone. That's how it always will go. I plan to commission as an officer in the Air Force, and I will not fall in the marriage trap thanks to Rad, Undead, Chronic, Taylor, Casual. Good for you. Stay single. Cheaper groceries. The groom is the last piece of her puzzle. Well said. Well said. Well said. Kicking it with the Koj. Too many people follow the norm. Marriage, kids, car, house. It's time to think outside the box. Live for yourself, not for your parents. I think we're getting to that point, kicking it. Definitely. How about the trend in silicone rubber rings? Have you seen the black rubber rings? They're pink. I don't know if they wear them and they keep the normal wedding ring in some box, but there's a trend with these $30 rings that are based out of silicone. And what's happening in the diamond stores, right? A lot of things are flipping. Now that you see wedding rings that are black, I think that's an interesting insight. The Jordan Peterson piece was interesting, says Bull. He does make very interesting points on several topics. Yes, he does. Nathan, I heard there's a lot of cheating going on in military marriages. I will say that when I was going through divorce or marriage counseling, our counselor, which she chose, was a woman who was twice divorced herself, said her main clientele were military couples with gigantic high infidelity rates due to deployments and living on base and hive mind and all that jazz. There is over 50% infidelity rate because of deployments. Women who walk from marriage aren't accountable. Men who would from marriage are the villains. 80% of women walk away and 20% of men walk away as well. So you're also look at the balance of male and female relationships now. We're talking about that. The future of marriage is going to be an issue because men are becoming women, or basically becoming very emotional. Why? Raised by single mothers. Why? Because they've been They've been through a divorce, had to live with mom, dad got alienated, so they become very emasculated. They're taught to allow their emotions to come out. They're taught to sit down to pee. All the things that women can help with younger boys, but they cannot raise boys when they start hitting 11, 12 years old. That's the man's job. Back in the 1900s, early 1900s, when that boy turned 11, he quit school and went to work in the fields with his dad and all the other friends and dads as well. That's how he learned masculinity, how to be a man. And then factories came about and men worked out of the house. And so boys went to school all day and majority of their teachers were women, or they stayed at home. So they lost that. I'd say in the 50s is basically when that stopped happening. Maybe late 40s, early 50s is when you saw a turn in the tide. It's very interesting. Very well said, Philip. Once a woman starts making money, she wants to drop the marriage and take the children. I think that's true, Manoj. Can't imagine one goes to the army, is willing to sacrifice his life, and his woman cheats. How can you look yourself in the mirror? Would agree with you, absolutely. Disgusting, right? Trust them with your life, but not with your wife. Well said. It's called silicone mold casting of jewelry. Yeah, it's really odd, but I've been seeing that a lot. And now they have these engagement parties, at least they do where I'm here. The guy proposes to the woman, they videotape it, and then they do it in front of their friends and family. So right when she says yes, the whole group jumps up and shouts hooray and yay, and they take pictures. It's, again, another way to seek attention, external validation. Now, when I proposed, I did it by myself at the beach. There were no cell phones. It was between her and I. She told her family 2 days later when we returned, right? Now it's just another attention grab. If there's a big enough drop, do you think it's conceivable for the marriage laws to change? This is what I think when it comes to laws. I think if there's a significant, I'm talking significant decrease in marriage, I think the government will increase the tax incentive to get married. Right now in the United States, the tax incentive from deduction is higher if you're married than if you're single or head of household. So there is an incentive to be married financially in the tax system. But I think if it continues to drop, and then it's going to be a significant increase in tax. But again, we go back to the beginning. Marriage will then be an institution for the rich. I think marriages in the future are going to be open marriages. They're going to be contractual. Everything's going to be contracted out. When you eat out of that, when you go out to eat, when you have sexual relations with each other, how many times a week do you have it? When do you go away with each other? When can you go out with your boys? Everything's going to be having literally a contract. When you go through a divorce, you get a decree, and that decree basically spits out everything. When you get to see your kids, how much you pay, what are the issues, who pays for this, who pays for that, blah, 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 blah. Everything is needled, tie-dyed down with a decree. And I think you're going to see that. I'm just speculating in the future. Marriage will have some sort of decree in it that you have to follow these rules or it's breach of contract. But who's going to breach? Do you think the man's going to say she breached her contract? Probably most likely not. I think it'll be her. So I think marriage will be an institution favorably for the rich. Lux Boss, I'm hopping in the shower when I hear I got you on loudspeaker. There you go. Oh, men that walk away from marriages get crucified for sure. Absolutely. Stay in the house. Have the judge pull you out. Never abandon. Does not look good. Maintain frame, laying it down to Chinatown. We are. Good to have you, brother. Even if they increase taxes, it's not going to be enough. I'd rather make 60 grand a year with disposable income while single than 125K a year with no disposable income while married with kids. Well, there you go. You just hit it on the head. You come out ahead being single, making 60 grand a year. As a woman ages, her health needs increase as well. So there's expenditures with women's health as well. If a man takes care of himself, unless he has really bad genetics, his medical costs will be not as much. What does Manage say? It's still contractual today, but the contract is defined by women. The laws will never even change to be more equitable, so never wait for it to go in your favor on anything. Women are the spenders, remember. Yes, I think that's very well said. 90% of all income that is spent worldwide is spent by the woman. Now, let's be real. Most of them that are married and have kids maintain the household, so they spend. But for the majority, men do not spend a lot. We're very minimalistic. It's logic. There are idiot men that spend everything they make. But for the most part, men use logic when it comes to dollars. 125 grand is nothing with marriage and kids in today's world. Nothing. And even less on, on the East Coast or LA, San Francisco. I mean, 300 grand is barely making it in LA and San Francisco. 300 grand a year. And half of that's going to taxes. Go figure. So you're looking at, and men, a lot of boys today. Let's take a look at the younger generation, Nathan's generation, my son's generation. It's a very different generation. A lot of kids can't really maintain eye contact and talk. They really, it's hard for them to talk. They talk to their phones. They talk through pictures on Snapchat. They talk through TikTok, Instagram. And so a lot of men are scared, or a lot of young men, I'll call them young men. Young men are scared to initiate conversations because they know, their confidence and maturity isn't there because they haven't had to talk to people. They only talk through phones and text and emojis. And so you're seeing more men scared. You're seeing a huge rise in the incel world. Women aren't paying attention to men like that because those men are scared to initiate conversations. And that's why these 19, 20, 21-year-old women seek older men where they leave the others behind. Also because of status and resources. The older the man is, the more resources he has. A 19-year-old has nothing. But when I was 19, I was dating 19-year-old girls. There's always that one or two that was dating a 30-year-old, but there was plenty in our day. But then again, there was no cell phone. There was confidence in the younger generation, the 17, 18, 19-year-olds. It's a much different world. So men are scared. They're scared to even call. There's more virgins today than there's ever been in the history of the world. Sex today what's the generation called? Generation Z. There's not a lot of relationships. When I grew up, every guy had a girlfriend. 99% of all guys had girlfriends. The goal to retire early is at 42 and do stand-up comedy and my podcast for a living. Yeah, I think you reached out to me about doing a live stream. I'd like to hear some of that comedy. I think I did see some of your comedy, if I remember. Men spend on what makes sense, something useful. All a woman has to do is see it to want it. Very well said. Men, when you need a pair of jeans, you go out and buy a pair of jeans. And you don't go and look the next day for a new style of jeans. You got the jeans, you're done. Next, you mark that off your list. And you go buy windshield wipers for your car, you wipe that off the list. You go out and buy a rototiller or a lawnmower. You need a ladder for the house. You're not always constantly looking for the next blue or red or green ladder. It's just that's our minds are different. Our minds are different that way. Men don't because they're on their purpose and their goals. If a goal requires spending, then he will spend money. Yes. Women compete with the Joneses down the streets, and that drains bank accounts. Go watch a movie called The Joneses. It's with Demi Moore and the guy from X-Files, David Duchovny, called The Joneses. It's a movie about this family that moves into different areas, these wealthy areas, and they are paid by advertisers and sponsors to wear certain clothes, drive certain vehicles. It's a very interesting movie, but it definitely fits into what we're talking on these channels. Women in society have put fear on men's head and shaming for such action. Yes, they have. Maintain frame. Sometimes I want to leave this mortal coil. The pain and losses are sometimes too much to bear. If I remember, you're 40? Well, leaving this mortal coil, I mean, every one of us has said, if I went tonight, I'd be all right. I don't have a problem. But we're not quitters. And remember that. We don't quit. Our gender doesn't quit for the most part. Now, we've got friends that have quit, and they quit because of why? The pain from what? We've all been through the pain and the loss of our kids, and we can't talk to our kids. Trong from the East Coast, he hasn't seen his boys. And I tell everybody, you've got to hunker down and you've got to be patient. This is the time you work on yourself, right? But I know the feeling. Sure, it'd be a lot easier to leave this mortal coil at times, but we're not quitters, we're men. And men stick together and talk about this kind of stuff. This is why we're here. We talk about ways to get through life. We talk about these issues. And that's okay. It's okay to think about that. It's okay to feel this way. There's absolutely nothing wrong with feeling that way. But we don't take action on it. The action we take is we acknowledge it, we accept that situation, the pain and the loss, and then we make that pain and the loss into something greater. And that could be moving energy, physical energy, moving our body, lifting weights, walking, getting out, meeting a new person, learning a new hobby. But I know what you're saying. Gen Z is more based than I thought. Are you saying biased or based? I am surprised. And so that is the reality of marriage. You're going to see certain pockets. It's going to be an institution for the rich if they increase the tax incentives. A lot of guys are opting out. We have 50 years of data, a little over 50 years of divorce and what divorce has done to society. Most kids today, 50 to 70% of all kids or people in my age, let's just say 30 and younger, 35 and younger, are from divorced families. Most of those kids, especially guys, are looking at relationships saying, if my parents couldn't make it, what chance do I have? But what is mom and dad saying to those kids? Oh, it's just us. We're just different. We grew apart. Everybody grows apart. Did anybody get the memo? We all grow apart. Men and women, familiarity grows us apart. I have some bad news. Let me know if you're interested in knowing it. Well, I don't know you can bring whatever you want to the table. Basically just means red base, means red pill. I teach a lot of my younger male friends that relationships take time and energy and that it's better spent on personal growth and development. Good for you. We need to teach and spread our knowledge and experience to others. This is the reason I do this channel, because I think my experience can help others. I've been in this situation. I've been in the same boat as a lot of guys. I know what the pain and loss is. I know what alienation is, courts, divorce, financial issues. I know what it's like dating, going out and seeing the world. And I'm just saying, marriage, 30 years ago to me, I wanted to be married and have kids and live that life. But the reality is I'm another statistic based on the different brains of a man and a woman. Female nature, male nature. Female programming, male programming. Kids spread kids wreak havoc on romantic relationships. It's the gender roles become mommy and daddy, not husband and wife. Nobody gets married to get divorced. And those that are still married, that are moving forward, that have maintained it, good for you. I'm not anti-marriage. I'm telling you, marriage to me, is not worth it. I guess that would be anti-marriage. I'm saying you can't expect a winning, you're not going to be in the final four with marriage. That's my personal opinion. I think the odds are stacked against anyone getting married or anyone still in marriage. You're going to be divorced emotionally, mentally, financially, or physically eventually. And people are still married, but they hate each other. Maintain frame. I've invested a fuck ton of emotional chips into these relationships that you have nothing to show for it. Again, I think I mentioned that. Maintain frame. The return on investment in today's modern relationship and marriage is slim to none. And so one would say, why would I want to get married? Why would I want to go for a second or third marriage when I know the odds are stacked against me? And those that married for a second or third time, and then there's more baggage on those other marriages. I mean, if they couldn't maintain the first one with no kids, then had kids, and marry a woman has step kids and step this and that, it just doesn't work. The return. Why do people invest in the stock market? They want 10 to 12% return over the lifetime so they can retire. They can turn that $10,000 into $1 million over 40 years. They're looking for a return on investment. But what does a relationship bring to the table? Is there a return on investment? I think there is for 1% of the couples out there. And I think for that 1% to get a return on investment is pretty damn hard as well. But I'm not a fatalist. I'm not going to say 100% of it is whacked. 99% is going to have a very difficult time in maintaining that relationship. Any adult who tells me to get married, I ask, well, can you pay for my divorce when it happens? That's a great one. I like that. See, use that, guys. Go get married. Well, as long as you will pay for my divorce, I will. In India, some MGTOW are encouraging men to kill the women who have ditched him. Some men, MGTOW, are justifying that is not the right thing. That is a beta male behavior right there. Best thing you can do if you got divorced is to make yourself the best version for you. So that's really unfortunate, man. My guitar will never divorce me. My guitar is extremely faithful to me. In fact, it wants to play me beautiful music every day. And it's always waiting there for me to pick it up. Loves the attention I give it. Gives me attention right back. Very well said. Jerome Markel, what's up, brother? Good to see you. Good to have you in the house as well. Tell me where you're from again. Being only 23, I'm about to just get my cash up and look at a nice house. I've blown so much money trying to make things work. It's disheartening. Well, you're not alone. Stack your bills. Again, 1% of women, I think, can go the distance, but the 99% can't. Can you find a 1%? Highly unlikely. Very rare that you do, but they do exist. So why would anybody try to find that rarity in the 99% that don't exist? And that's the reality. Simple as that. Stack bills, hang out, and just be yourself. If you kill a woman, then very well said, Nathan. Very well said. You're still giving power to who? That's the thing about guys that you're here. Look in the news. There's tons of murder suicides based on this. And again, who are you giving power to? It's tough. It's tough. But again, very well said, Nathan. Don't forget that there is more to life than relationships. I would guess for the most part, we all invested way too much in it. Now we got wiser. Avoid traps in life. I think that's the reality. I mean, I don't hate any woman. I don't hate my ex-wife. I just realized that, look, I learned my lesson. I learned what it's like to commit, to give, to put 100% into it, and at the end of the day, have it not work out. So why would I do that again? You know, somebody commented on my channel, called us guys. Always called me a washed-up white guy, Caucasian male, giving advice to wimpy dudes, and I'm thinking to myself, you're literally a relationship away from checking these channels out. He's the type that probably watches How to Get Your Ex Back and How to Fix It, knowing no idea that there's literally a male brain and a female brain. And, you have to understand each. We got to understand our brains. And we got to understand their brains. So well said, man. We got wiser. The comment was said from Lonnie Spence, will you pay for my divorce when it happens? I love that. That's awesome. Snagged it from Undead Chronic. Yeah, I like Undead. He's cool. Brooklyn, New York. Do they still have those pizza? I know it was in New York City. Every corner had like that pizza by the slice for $1 or something like that. They only took cash. It was probably run by the mob, but that was damn good pizza. But I've never been to Brooklyn. I hear it's great. So lots of culture out there. Beastie Boys are from Brooklyn, right? Yeah. Do not become a Captain Save-A-Ho because all you're doing is helping her while she's oppressing another man. Huh. Ain't that the truth? I've run into gals looking for the Captain Save-A-Ho. I don't have a problem going on dates. In fact, I find it interesting to literally meet another person who has a female brain and see how they operate, and just to see if I'm still right, and I'm always right. They're not hard to understand if you understand them, nor are men. And there's nothing wrong with, however you want to be. If you want to not date, if you do want to date, if you want to be, black pill, if you want to be monk mode, there's nothing wrong with any of that. I choose in my time of day to have short-term relationships only, 4 to 6 weeks, because I know at the end I have nothing invested, enjoyed my time, next. And maybe I'll take 6 months and do nothing. But that's just me. And I've seen some of these gals that are looking for Captain Save-A-Ho. Well said, brother. A successful up-and-coming rapper just killed himself the other day because he wanted to wife his girl and she cheated on him. Again, who are we giving power to? And that is the sad state. We've all done it. We've all tried to get her, to do that. To stay with us. You can't make a woman love you, like you, or stay with you. Do we understand that? If you understand that and you're going into a relationship knowing that, if she breaks up with you, you're going to be okay. But why would you want to be broken up by? Because you're going to be thrown in the cycle again. You're going to be thrown in those emotions. The negative self-talk. Why did she break up with me? What did I do wrong? What's wrong with me? So that's why I push 4 to 6 weeks only. Because after the 3rd date, 4th date, max, you know what's going on. It doesn't get better. It stays the same or it degrades. The dopamine has worn off. New York City has some fire pizza. Johnny's Pizza in the Bronx is my favorite. Never been there. Brooklyn is great. Loved it. They still have pizza shop, but you have to go to Greenwich Village where they're $1 and they give you a huge slice and the crust is, yeah, they're great. I don't know how they do it for $1. It's got to be some sort of like money laundering place because they're huge. They're like half a real pizza. Mysterio is in the house from Canada. What you doing today, Mysterio? Let's wait for your questions. His name is Lil Loaded. Feel sorry for the guy, but young men have limited role models. Yes, because who's telling that young boy that, hey, where's the dad telling that young boy, your heart's going to get broke by a woman? Prepare for it. And here's a guy with success and money and took his life because a woman monkey branch and basically ran female nature. That's what happened. So why not know those things now? Especially I tell my boys, avoid heartbreak. Don't follow a woman expecting to get the same love in return. I think men love women much different, much stronger, much deeper than a woman loves a man. And I think it's genetic and biological programming. I think it goes back to the caveman days when the man was out for 3 to 6 days at a time hunting buffalo. The woman was taking care of the youngsters, trying to protect the meat share from neighboring women seeking their meat and their provisions. And they just never connected, attached to the man in that way, and then eventually could monkey branch to the next war tribe, or somebody else that brought more meat. I just think it's programming. She is only investing her time and her peace leave to you for a secured future without you. It's not a secured future with you. It's a secured future without you that they intend on obtaining. It's very well said. A secured future without you is what they're seeking, not with you. Very well spun there, Sharon. Your content is beyond women. It's life skills. Thanks, brother. Johnny's Pizza. We'll have to have an event there. I was oppressed by multiple women at the same time without any reason. I was ashamed and beaten by my school teacher. Women was considered truth even though they were lying. You know? I believe that for the majority of women, lying is not wrong. It's just an emotional response to how they're feeling in the moment. Emotions trump morality in female brains. Logic is morality in man's brains. Jeez, $400,000. How old was he? Was he what, 19, 20? Disagreeable. Oh, I like that picture. That's cool. Trying to use logic with women is the biggest problem. Stop expecting anything to be logical. Women are just emotional. That's just how they are. So they run off their emotions. Remember, a woman can have nearly 12 to 15 hurricanes a day. How are you going to handle them? You can't use logic. There's only one thing you can say, which is these words. I can't imagine what you're going through. That's it. That's it. My uncle took his life when his girlfriend monkey branched. He's not the only one, right? There's tons and tons of. That's why we're trying to stop and get this information out to tell men that you're not alone. Choice of sports in school, baseball for me. I play baseball. Yeah. Catcher and right field. FJT is in the house. You know, FJT you guys check his channel. He just did a video on male suicide and very well done. And that's a topic that we don't really talk a lot about. We try to, but men that leave this mortal coil because of a woman, because they feel like they're alone. They might not know this information, and they're thinking they did everything wrong, and then they can't handle it and process it. And how many lives have been saved and changed? For me, mine was. But I've had countless people email me telling me this content of what they've been watching on all the channels has literally saved them. I mean, you've got to watch these channels every single day, twice, 3 times, play it in your headphones. Understand that you are not alone. We are not alone. So check out FJT's video, his latest video. Very well done, FJT. Call me Coon. You're all good, brother. We're just talking about marriage in today's world and where it's going, which I believe is just going to be a contract between rich people in the future, because most men are deciding that it's financially, lots of men are finding it's financially inconceivable to maintain a great lifestyle of being married due to potential divorce, potential child support, potential alimony. He was 21, 20. Dang, that's too young. It's my boy's age. Those women planning the entire thing to fear them and get blackmailed by them. Rival Sons have a live stream doing 2 of their early albums, $34 with tax to view late. Oh, I'll check it out. Those guys are good, man. But Rival Sons are good. I saw a tweet and this female said, I'm pregnant. It's either going to be a girl or a... Jeez. Interesting. That is the delusion we're living in. That is the right there, Jerron. Right there. Right there. That is the sad, sad reality of modern day thinking. Thank you, feminism. Thank you, liberalism, for that. Disagreeable. They know lying is wrong. They just don't care. It's evil. Just accept it's evil. They are balls of confusion without male guidance. And in this society, male leadership is against the law. I would agree with that statement 150%. Males are going to be banned. Male thinking, male speaking. Can you imagine if there was a potential law that males could only speak if they were spoken to or asked to speak? You never know. Pops one's in the house. I believe marriage is a thing of the past for wise men. It's definitely something you have to really, really think and look at every angle and vet. And then you'll come out of that going, man, this is just another multi-level. Right? Still young and a result of being raised in a fatherless home without a strong father figure in his life. The father, yeah, absolutely. This is what happens. Did they not understand this? There's a book that's called The Boy Crisis that talks about this. An author wrote about it. They have no idea what feminist liberal agenda is doing to society. What age do men get blue pilled? When they hit school or early childhood? Well, I think they get, depends on the dynamics between mom and dad, but probably before they go to kindergarten, preschool, it's kind of they see the dynamics, but probably more so after they get there. Mysterio. It's sad to see that men want to harm themselves because of women. Please don't harm yourselves, gentlemen. Absolutely. Like I've told everybody, everyone on this channel will help each other. I mean, even in comments. If there's anybody that's struggling, send me an email. Send whoever. Well, anyone will answer. We'll talk it out. I'll take phone calls. No problem. You just send, and we just get you through it. Sometimes you just have to hear it from somebody else to tell you that this woman that maybe is causing you so much heartache, and we can look at the reality versus the fantasy. And that's what it comes down to. Well said, FJT. They just started up this whole Fear Woman, all men movement. Look at this is what happens when masculinity ceases to exist. This is the shit that happens. It's happened in societies in the past 2,500 years. This is the best thing to happen to the world is toxic masculinity. That's it. Toxic masculinity got us to this today, right now, 2021. June 4th, 2021, got us here. And what's going to take it away? The lack of it. Today's society, that's today's female, and they wonder why men are checking out. Yeah. Jimmy Baller's in the house. Poor gents. Sad world. Adele, salute to you, brother. Know at the age of 8, 9 years old, boys get blue pilled. I know it's young. I'm here to chat also. Good. Anything y'all need to know, I'm willing to give you my knowledge. Thank you for helping everybody out. That's what we do. They're already trying to get rid of men. Hold on. Got to come up here. FJT brought you here. Always good. My neighbor got divorced. My wallet, my choice. Put the house on selling. I noticed that happening all the time. Hey, if a house goes up in your neighborhood, typically it's a divorce. Fear women. Oh, geez, I just can't believe that we're there. Call me coon. They're already trying to get rid of men in power positions at every turn. They'll try to find anything that could deem you as a misogynist or pervert. Well, just having a penis would be a misogynist in today's world, right? You're a good dude, brother. For real, the impact you're making is huge. If we don't stick together and get each other through this stuff, it's going to be even worse. It's everybody. Everybody's helping everybody. There's such good content. And the risks and the realities of marriage, just to me, they don't pencil out, right? If I was to buy a house to flip it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's $100,000. But it's going to cost me $300,000 to move the foundation, to put a new septic system in, a new sewer system, to put all new wiring. It's going to cost me $300,000, so I'm $400,000 into it. I can only sell it for $325,000. I'm going to pay $75,000 to give it to. I'm going to give somebody $75,000 to take. That's just where we're at. It just doesn't pencil out. Marriage is tough. Melanated frequency handler. Ooh, interesting. Handle. Melanated frequency handler. I like that. I'm Gen Z and I see the writing on the wall. To answer the title to your video, there's no future for marriage and really long-term relationships as I can see. I would agree with you. Gen Z. I would give you some advice. Learn. You probably can speak well, but the person that can speak intelligently with other people will be very successful moving forward. That's what I tell my boys. What do you do if she insults your manhood or integrity? Walk away. Don't even acknowledge it. It's just another tactic. It's a bait. It's a way to get your attention. If she attacks your manhood or your integrity, if you try to defend it and she's got you in a corner, just walk away. Just say, hey, what time's the game on? Just act like she said something absolutely stupid by saying something else. Hey, do you got the roast in the oven or what? Lord Spawn is in the house. Good to see you. Give me an example of a movie character that is red pill and blue pill. Jason Statham would be a very red pill guy. Blue pill? Who's Andy Bernard? He's at The Office. Ed Helms in Cedar Rapids. Watch that movie. Ed Helms in Cedar Rapids. Total blue pill. Females have all the protection, jobs, programs, shelters, free legal assistance, free government, free housing, and amnesty, while men have to fend for himself. We men don't have many rights. Sure seems that way, right? If females expect the man to pay for sex, why don't men expect females to pay for bodyguards? It's a good one. Men can't flip female nature. Can women flip male nature? Very interesting question. Yeah, sure. Women can flip alpha males into beta males. Yes. Because that man wants to maintain civility, peace in the house. He's going to shave his beard off for her. So yes, a woman can flip male nature. But I don't think she can flip it. It just she can dissolve it for a certain amount of time, then it comes back raging in the end. But we can't do that to women. I just really don't think they understand the long game effects of this stuff will have. It's like they push all this BS, but what happens when they try to change the tune in their favor later? Well, you know what's interesting? You're seeing these transgendered athletes competing in women's sports, and women don't want anything to do with it. But I thought we're all equal. And if they're legally a woman, born male, legally a woman, I don't see why they can't compete. Because, again, equality is only equal till it's not. Equality, you're equal. Hey, we're all equal until the bill comes at dinner. We're all equal until we got to pay the insurance payment. We're all equal until we want to compete with you. I mean, if you're a guy that turns into a woman, becomes a legal woman, biological, looks biological and wants to compete, and they beat them, women don't want anything to do with that. But that goes against everything they stand for. The liberalism, feminist thinking does not allow for that. Although the men say, hey, if a woman wants to be a man, they have her compete, have it compete with men in the boxing ring, right? Women have two automatic go-to NPC: attack your sexuality. Yes, they do. Very well said, Lord Spawn. Please watch Mirror Past Tom Ho. It's a complete red pill and blue pill character soap in YouTube. Check that out. Why are females typically held accountable for their own actions when they drive drunk, but not when they have drunk sex? Goes back to probably The courts, they're victims, the victim mentality. But yeah, they're not accountable when they have sex drunk and they're bringing it on, and they're more into it when they're drunk. Very well said. Those women get dumped by their husbands. Well, 80% of women dump their husbands, right? I did the same thing with my ex. I always remain calm, and she told me that her biggest pet peeve is when I don't argue back with her. You learned young, FJT. Arguing with a woman is not good, because arguing, you have already lost. Even if she starts arguing with you and you even argue back to defend yourself, you lost. Number one, you lost. Number two, it's a beta male behavior. Strong men do not argue, they walk away. Right? It's very difficult to have a relationship, a calm relationship, and argue. That's the biggest lesson I learned. Chris Rock did a bit on that. When you're with if you're in an argument with a woman, you lost. Right? Well said, FJT. Liberalism is a literal form of brain damage. I don't think you're wrong there, Lord Spawn. I don't think you're wrong there. Uber mentioned the house. Hey, MGTOW. Good to see you. Feminists hate Bill Burr, twist their only ponytails and scream. I'm just a girl when a fire breaks out. Huh. I think I remember hearing that. Damn right. Jaron, why do females want equality in everything except divorce, physical abuse, and dating? Because being a victim pays dividends in the court system. Being a victim gets attention and it gets financial resources. Taking accountability doesn't get you resources. In fact, you don't get any when you're accountable. That's why. Freaky, messy, drunk sex. Big Towel Life is in the house. Good to see you, brother. Hope you're doing well. You're fighting the good fight. You're past the midway point. You're in the the second quarter. You just finished halftime. We got your back, brother. That's how the female lives. Arguments. They constantly want attention, even when it's negative. I say that a lot, Jaron. Positive and negative attention is still attention. Why do you think women... So my wife loved to bring up stuff from the past. She was a great archaeologist. She should have been one because she dug the past up all the time. But she loved to get me and nag at me. It was almost as though she wanted me to bark back, which gave her attention. It's the damnedest thing if you think about it, but you're absolutely right. I hope trans flood all female sports, abolish the WNBA. If you're good enough, join the NBA. Fight them in MMA. I'm 100% with you, man. 100%. Why? How come? I want to see men join the WNBA. And if a WNBA player is great, which, look, men play better. Let's be real. Although, hey, did you see LeBron go out the first round last night? That's interesting. Well, that's like a complete turn of the tides. My Blazers went out too. I'm a little upset about that. But at the end of the day, let men try out for the WNBA. It'll become, and every woman, they'll probably say only one man per team. But a WNBA player cannot play in the NBA. I agree with you, disagreeable. MGTOW Life is in the building. The first word a man says to verbally argue with a woman equals automatically defeat. They have no idea about facts or loyalty. Exactly. Emotional is the woman land. Our land is logical. My wall and my choice. Well said. I do like Bill Burr. He's definitely raising some eyebrows and eyelids from the feminists around. They'll probably try to cancel him too. Example of brain damage liberal Justin Trudeau. Oh, that guy is the simp of the last 1,000 years. Brad, were you bullied as a kid? How did you overcome it? I wore glasses as a kid. I played football, and but I didn't. I wore glasses, and back in the '70s, '80s, those glasses were massively nerd herd. Just ugly, big old glasses, and I got contacts in high school, and that was a game changer. But I always had confidence. I was a really good skateboarder, but some people try to bully me. My dad would always tell me, he'd say, "You never throw the first punch. If someone punches you, you fight back. You go, and I'll defend you." But no, I never was bullied that bad. People, make fun of me or something. I didn't grow up in a really, really rich family, but it wasn't poor. But we didn't have, our vacations were camping. We didn't go to Disneyland. We didn't go to Hawaii. We didn't wear the brand new Nikes. So, but I was strong enough. I had good parenting, and that helps. A good dad and good mom. Good to see the gents. I'm having EDD battles now. I'm learning all the time, and it's as usual. Hell yeah, you won. In fact, you're not going to win. You have won. Because I see you already victorious. Bill Berg tickles my masculinity gland. Mysterio is at work at the hospital on a break. Good to have you, though. My major malfunction is how are people okay with all this? Like, when are things going to be called out for what they are? It's literally destroying society. No accountability, and they love it. You know what? I thought the same thing. When you really become aware of life, you're like, why aren't the courts, the police that are significantly male, not seeing the destruction of society in front of them? My divorce attorney was a bulldog, as Mysterio likes to call him, which he was. He was representing a judge going through divorce. A judge, a district judge in the county. And his wife, at the time, the judge's wife, wanted everything. Can you just imagine the karma this guy is now getting back? Because I guarantee he gave women more women than what he gave men. And now he's getting taken to the cleaners. Well said, HTO kid. Well said. Call me Coon. Chris Rock is perfect with pointing out a woman's hypocritical mind. And he does it very comically. Females choose who they fuck, and when men fuck who they can't, period. Yeah. And women do not screw men that they find are amazing. They screw men that they respect. I agree with that statement 100%, brother. What's the better sport? Basketball, baseball, football, hockey? I like basketball. It's faster. It's aggressive. Well, 80s basketball. Today's basketball is a little, it's kind of pussified. You touch someone, you get a foul. Back in the 80s, you went through the lane. Bill Laimbeer broke your rib. You got a black eye. You couldn't play for a week. Much more physical game. I also like hockey. Football is cool, but I like football in the playoffs. And I like college football better than pro. Doing laundry. Doing woman's work. LOL. Leftists are getting so desperate in debates they're openly disregarding facts and making shit out on the spot. Well, I'm going to tell you a game plan. If you're debating someone, and if they know they're losing the argument, they're going to change the argument to something completely different. It's called microaggression. And they will change that narrative. So if you're arguing over the ozone layer depleting, and you give them facts that no, it's not depleting, it's actually nothing's happened to it. They know that might be true, or they can't back or verify those facts because they're based on feelings, and so they'll bring something else in. Well, the icebergs are now melting at a faster rate. They go from one extreme to the other, and then they try to maintain that narrative of winning. And that's how it works. They can't really maintain a logical stream of debate. It's just all over the map. Cognitive dissonance. Very well said, Lord Spawn. I was bullied for money when I was a kid. Interesting. Females have a 100% monopoly on who is born and who is killed. You're from Brooklyn. There's a lot of feminine. The Brooklyn, Greenwich Village, liberals everywhere, right? I mean, what's it like? The dating market out there's got to be an absolute shit show. And it was funny. I flew into New York about 3 years ago, and I had the Tinder app on. No, 4 years ago. I landed in New York. I was on the plane, and I had 100 liking. It was crazy. I never had seen that ever. Love to hear that story there, Jerron. Time travel to visit for you, but you stay the same age. 70, 89, 90s. What do you do? 80s. Yeah. I'm not a big fan of the 70s. It's all right, but I go the 60s or the 80s. MGTOW Life, that's a good point. Prepare for a win, then expect it. Why? How? Because when you give 100%, 10% as a man, it's a huge effort. Yeah. Expectations versus just expect it. Just assume that you're done. Human mind will make that a reality. There's a lot of value in the subconscious mind. I was talking the other day on a book, Joseph Campbell, The Power of the Subconscious Mind. Guys, read it. It's huge. It's made my life amazing. The Power of the Subconscious Mind by Joseph Campbell. You can get it online for free. PDF. Whenever my ex wanted to argue, she would bring up the past. She always talks about the time I didn't put the toilet seat down. So they're archaeologists. They just love digging up the past. That wasn't, had nothing to do with what you did. She just wanted your reaction. Simple as that. A family male judge getting taken to the cleaners by the same unbalanced laws he was used to destroy men. I'm telling you, he was getting, and this judge, he was 65 years old, getting divorced. How ironic. And I bet he's probably thinking, oh my gosh, I'm getting paid back. I destroyed men. Now I'm getting destroyed. Right? Very ironic. Hockey and football should take lessons in manliness from Irish hurling. Yeah. Hey, Rad, I feel weird today just thinking about my marriage. It's so clear that my ex got me so good by using me for her benefit for those 16 years. It's just unbelievable, and she's just there with no worries. Yeah, I've been there, Ed. I've been there. You just have to realize that at least you know now. Imagine if you didn't know what you knew and you were still married. Now you do. You rip that Band-Aid off, and now you begin to heal. Now you can begin to see. Now it's a matter of looking at fantasy versus reality and building yourself back up. That's it. I had to do it. A lot of people are doing it. So I know that feeling. People are now fighting for their kind sanity in the classroom. This affects the children of single mothers the most because they tend to be hive-minded. Well said. What's the best music for guitar or drums? Punk, metal, funk, rock. I gotta go rock on that. They can't keep on topic if losing. Yes. That's what I'm talking about. Big Schma. Hey, dude, can you give a shout out to my friend Dylan and tell him not to be a weak in the gym? Hey, Dylan, don't be a puss. That's what I'm talking about. Lift weights. Quit simping. Is that good enough? My wallet, my choice. Why women like to go to the men place, seeking attention? Yes. Attention is their currency, my wallet. That is what they're into. How many are aborting because they're a male? That would be interesting to know. Would they even know if that baby's male at the time? I think you find out at 21 weeks? Interesting. Cryptic. Good to have you. A marriage is just a legal contract for a woman to use a man during marriage and after she divorces the man. It's usury, period. Well said, MGTOW Life. The benefits in divorce outweigh the benefits in marriage. What's your temperament? I'm 80% chill, 20% hothead. Probably the same. 60%, 70% chill. 2/3 of male black babies are aborted. Well, I read Coach Greg Adams said that black women have aborted more babies than any other race or creed or culture in the world. I don't know what it is. And that's documented. So who knows? But I am anti-abortion 100%. It is, if you got knocked up, you open your legs, And there's the argument of incest and rape. Okay, I get it. But for the majority of these abortions, those abortions are chosen to get pregnant and chosen to have an abortion. I'm completely anti that. This level of entitlement makes them deadly. Yes, it does. 10 years ago, abortion was legal. After that day, it was illegal. Today, it's legal again. It'll keep flip-flopping everywhere. It'll keep coming up in the United States as well. Liberal feminists are complete hypocrites, love to be degraded in the bedroom and claim to support sex workers, but won't push for legalization or oxymoron is what we would say to that. They are completely bamboozled by their own thinking. I wouldn't even call it thinking. Emotional decision making. Right? Brooklyn is full of them. Yeah. It's funny. I was talking to this when Trump won. I was in San Francisco. I was talking to this liberal simpy guy, and he was trying to tell me that Hillary was better, but he couldn't tell me what Hillary did. It's just that she was a woman. And I said, what was I saying? I go, it's interesting because a lot of this feminism just hasn't gotten us anywhere. It's, they're only equal till they're not. Now, and I said, if there was a number one feminist sitting at the bar with us, Trump, see you later, Cryptic, Trump could get that woman to go home with him that night. Oh, and he had a fit. He was so upset with, no, he would never, I would never have a beer with Trump. Oh, bullshit. Any feminist woman that hated Trump would go home with Trump. Simple as that. So you're absolutely right. Love to be degraded in the bedroom. Well said. Don't want to get personal, but when you got blindsided, how bad was your mental? That type of stuff. It was tough. I knew it was happening, but when it happened, that's a different story. The reality set in. Oh, it's tough. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it shook me up. I was more shook up about the rejection and what was going to happen to the unknowing of what was going to happen to my kids and in my life. Yeah, but it's tough. And some men cannot handle the fact that their wife might be cheating on them and another man might be mounting her, and they go out and take their lives. When if they really processed it and bonded with other guys that have gone through it, watched these channels, they could probably have avoided that fate. But yeah, it's tough. Do you think a judge's gender will determine a winning outcome for female nature? I don't know. Our commissioner was a woman, and she basically saw the fairness of what my attorney proposed, which was mom and dad 50% of the time, no alimony, and division of all assets, which is basically how divorce should go. So ours was a woman. Some guys have male judges that rule for the woman. It all depends. It's all about your lawyer and how well the lawyer knows the courts and knows the game. A woman will start an argument just to get you to talk to her. They crave conversation, but why can't I have the right to some silence? Well said. Should the bottom of 80% just buy a waifu? If a waifu makes you happy, go for it. If it brings you peace and serenity and calmness and you feel a connection, who am I to judge? I have a confession. I'm loving with my waifu. There you go. If that makes you happy, then so be it. I'm sorry, but I have to disagree with you. The reason why your relationship didn't work out is because you didn't maintain frame, sell soap, sound cringe as fuck, and retain your spiritual semen. Damn it, you just picked me apart. I'm gonna walk away with a walk of shame. I think it's because I didn't maintain frame. I should have bought the Maintain Frame book and literally a year's supply of soap and pheromones. Funny, that's funny. Matt Trudeau, another subtle trap going on is having to get married to put her on your health insurance. Rad, what's the play between marriage and healthcare? I think you just mentioned it. Mutual benefits. Marriage and healthcare, especially women in later in their years, tend to require more medical care than the man. If the man doesn't take care of himself, obviously he'll have but women have more of a deteriorating physique based on their genetic makeup. So, yeah, they need health insurance. Well said, Matt. Here in Brooklyn, it's a shit show. I see pretty chicks, but I know they ain't purity. I was even ashamed and called gay for not being interested. They always attack the sexuality. Well, that's our number one rule in their playbook. What sunglasses do you use for biking? Oakley. The hell are they called? Oakley Frog something. Yeah, I like those the best. I don't know. I got them used, $60. You can buy really expensive goofball ones, but mine are. What do they have that? What's the blocking out light called? They got some funk. And the cool thing about those Oakley Frog skins is you can switch out the lenses. You can get different colors. Right. Heartbreak one-itis can end your life or at least derail your life for weeks, months, or even years. Yes. Well said. Well said. And unfortunately, guys, a lot of guys become so depressed, they literally sit on a shelf waiting for that ex to come back and pull them off and say, I made a mistake, I want you back. And that's the worst thing to do. If you get divorced, if she leaves the marriage, you're done. And it's hard to get to that point if you're going through it, but you're done. You're not doing it. You're not going back. That's disrespecting yourself as a person, and she double disrespects you. That's even worse than staying with. That's even worse than going your own way by 1.5 miles. Is there any justification for alimony if the woman gives up her career to have a family and kids if the guy leaves her? I think if the guy left her and she was a barefoot and pregnant type, then I think alimony would be fine because she raised the kids, he left and ditched her. But if she ditched him, no. If he ditched her with 5 kids in tow, had no skills, then I think alimony would be justified. And she didn't want the divorce. But if she wanted a divorce, no. If you're a woman, you want a divorce, I don't think you're entitled to alimony. You should have thought that. You should spend more time and effort trying to fix your marriage and leave it. How many guys had one night, 1 week stand, fake being pregnant for attention? My buddy was super stressed over her lives. Oh, I'm sure it happens a lot. Cheaper groceries. Yeah. My buddy's kid in Oregon was dating this gal, and she said she was pregnant. Found out she wasn't pregnant. She tried to, and they were like 19. This was a couple years ago. And total scam, lied to him and everything. And my buddy was like freaking out. He was going to be a granddad. He's my age, worried about his kid, completely changing the direction of his life. I'll think about marriage when all she gets by law is 50-50 custody. Well, I wouldn't even do that, Lord Spawn, because, you can move to Utah. It's 50-50 custody, state law now. But the reality is, what about the potential infidelities, the hypergamy, that you'll have lack of sex being married, all of the other issues that we've experienced being married. It just doesn't pencil out to be a very good return on investment. I totally agree with the Trump thing. I've noticed more feminists here are more interested in me because all they smell are feminine men, but never one that scares them. Guys, don't be scared by a feminist. At the end of the day, they're trying to prove something that's unprovable. They can't be a man. They truly want a man. That's in their nature of programming. But who wants to be with a mouthy, bad attitude woman? None of us. Do you believe in the product of you? Oh, the medical supplies. Yeah, I do. I don't have a lot of competitors, but yeah, it comes down to the support of the company. Not even division of assets, especially premarital assets. F her, my wallet, my cost, my effing stuff. There you go. Yes, UV protection. UV filter. Since most of these females are surrounded by feminine males, they triply want that alpha guy. I don't consider myself alpha. I hate that word, but I have what it's called. BD. Big dick swinging. Polarized. That's what I'm thinking. Polarized. My ex is 21, married, and won't divorce because her husband is a bum and has no assets, so she commits adultery on the week. Hey, of course she does. What situation is a mess? Where would you even begin with that? Exactly. I mean, I wouldn't even play with that. The attention they get in their phone just would eliminate all of them. A marriage contract gives a biatch the incentive to leave you. Why would you ever sign that? Yes, it does. If you take an ex back, what she did will never stop because she knows you are a sucker. She disrespects you double, triple, quadruple more for taking her back. Tinder recorded a 95-5 ratio of female dislikes to likes. Jeez, that makes sense. If a woman divorces a man she was no longer his for quite some time, I would agree. It's hard to disconnect, but this has to happen for even a moderate level of sanity. Well said, MGTOW Life. I'm very glad to see Jay Cutler is demanding half of his wife's multi-million-dollar business. I know she's panicking with the tables turned. Well, it's fair. She earned it during the marriage. That's state law. And now she's calling him, probably calling him names because he wants part of her money. See, it only works until it doesn't. Equality works until it doesn't. Frame works until it doesn't. FJT, I hope the laws change to make men happy, but I'm personally never going back to relationships. They will still be hypergamy, social media, and emotional brain, and her cell phone. Hey, FJT just summed it up right there, guys. That is the reality of a relationship. A short-term fling is completely different. But a relationship, hypergamy, social media, attention, an emotional brain with hurricanes, and cell phone. That's it. Those are the four headless horsemen of relationship right there. Why do men have one-itis and women do not? Because women know that they can get whomever man. And men know it's a lot difficult to maintain, to get and maintain a woman. No Karen for me, I guess. Good one, Ubermensch. A chick tried that one with me once. I told her she's not impossible because I'm no good down there. She came clean. That's often a trick to get money out of you. Well said. Big dick energy. I'll tell you a story about that sometime. It's safe to automatically assume all women are cheating. Well, if they got a phone, there's a lot of attention coming through that phone. They don't have to charge their phone for electricity. They charge it for attention. That's what runs it. That's what powers their phone. And their Apple iWatch. They don't need a man until they need a man. That's an emotional brain right there. Women fucking hate equality in the family and divorce courts. Remember, Adele and her ex, he was getting death threats for his payout. It only works until it doesn't. We're only equal till we're not. Yet the laws favor anything earned within the marital agreements, regardless if there's a prenup. Guys, prenups don't stand up. A judge can throw that out. They could say the woman signed it under duress, and the whole narrative, the Duluth model, whatever. Whatever is earned within the day they get married to the day they divorce is 50-50 in every state in the U.S., unless there's an agreement. Why do women play house with dolls as kids but don't take it to heart in reality? Men play cops and robbers and take care of business when they come to age. Emotions versus logic, Mysterio. That is why. Remember, a woman loves to live in her imagination. A woman is in love with the idea of being in love. A woman dreams about her wedding day, the day she realizes what a wedding is. Little girls, little bridesmaids, little flower girls, they can't wait till their wedding. It's in their head. They see their 20-year-old cousin getting married, and they can't wait till they get married. So that's what they think about all the time. It's just an imagination, and they live in that world of fantasy. Even if the laws change in favor of men and they become equal, I still wouldn't do it. No, I wouldn't. Why? Hypergamy, emotional brain, social media, and cell phone, as FJT has said. A woman has a smartphone, she has social media, and she has orbiters that are giving her attention. There you go, disagreeable. If she has a smartphone, you'd be dumb to think she is faithful. Doesn't matter the woman. There are men of all areas and all shapes, sizes, races, creeds that are sending her DMs on the regular. moment, and your attention means nothing when she's getting attention from 100 different guys. A prenup only stands in court if a judge notarizes it. Otherwise, it's used as toilet paper. And even those times it's notarized can be thrown out. There's lots of stories about that. Well said. The smartphone has literally ruined women. I believe that 100%. People say, what are your red flags, Brad? Smartphone. Number one. Number two, does this person have a relationship with their father? Number three, what's their attention like? Number four, tattoos, weird piercings, weird colors, liberal-minded. And I don't even know, liberal would probably be the number one red flag. You can never deal with that. Is there ever an all-in-one man for a woman? No. A woman wants an alpha, then they want to turn him into a beta. If they get the beta, they want the alpha. They're never satisfied. Very few, 1% are satisfied. Totally remember that Adele shit. She was asked what would happen if you got fatter. And she was the one that said, fuck my husband. I don't care what he thinks. I'm the woman. What did Dwayne Wade say the other day? Gabrielle Union leads his family. What a simp. Disgusting. How is that a role model to young basketball players? Lil Loaded. I mean, look what happened to him, right? I think it's the 19th and everything since then that's ruined women. Potentially. The courts. We can do it all on our own, but it sucks because you want that family, that sort of comfort and love. This has to be silently destroying them. Soul ties are no joke, and they have so many partners. There's nothing wrong with having a family or being married or wanting kids, but the reality is there is little to no return, if not destruction, in today's world. It's as simple as that. Who doesn't? What man does not want to leave his posterity? That's what we're biologically, genetically engineered to do, is spread our seed to maintain the existence of humanity. And we would like to do that with a woman that cares for our offspring, loves them, and we move through life with grandkids and so forth. But the reality is, it's very difficult to get that world now. I mean, again, you'd have better odds catching a spaceship tonight on the corner by Taco Bell and 7-Eleven. It's as simple as that. OnlyFan, entrepreneur, whorepreneurs. There you go. All her secrets in her phone. Ask your lady to give you her phone. See what she says. Tattoos are a huge red flag. Well, tattoos are for attention. That's it. I've heard that any notarization below a judge is meaningless. A judge can't throw out a judge's notarization. At least that's what I've been reading. That used to be the case, but it's been changing a lot lately. Females live in 2020, but they want a man that lives in the 50s. Interesting comment. I think you're right. I've dated women with tattoos. They were more emotionally damaged than most women, but AWOL. Tell life, laying it down. We forgot AWOL. The reality is, women today being raised in fatherless homes, being in the hive mind, watching promiscuity being basically a virtue now. Being promiscuous is a virtue, right? And they're just damaged. There's just so much damage. I mean, it's starting younger and younger and younger. Months ago, I told a guy his girlfriend isn't faithful. He told me, nah, my girl would never do that, never been cheated on. Shortly after, he caught his girlfriend cheating. You sniffed that out, didn't you, FJT? Some guys just can't face reality. They're still living in the fantasy that woman's faithful. Just watched the 50 Tips to Catching a Man from the 50s, laughing my ass off. It was good. I got to check that out. Back in the days, women had a notebook. There was all their secrets. Now all they have is a smartphone. Well said. Elias Antonio de la Huerta. Hello, Rad. Nice to see you. Do you like Fresh and Fit podcast? I don't watch it. I think I saw it, I don't know, a couple months ago. I don't watch it, though. I don't watch it. It's just not my cup of tea. Got a lot of people that watch it. Coach Greg Adams went on it. And some other better bachelor went on it. So we'll have to see. But no, I'm not. I don't like those. They don't really. I don't think they have a lot of experience. The fresh and fit guy. Someone explain AWOL to me, gents. I've never heard the term. All women are like that. And Nawal, not all women are like that. That's what it means. There you go, Lord Spawn. So anyhow, that's the story. Marriage today, moving forward, is going to be less and less. It'll still exist in certain pockets. I think the government eventually, 5, 10, 15 years down the road, maybe they see a significant decrease. They're going to increase the tax incentive. Then it'll be a rich man's game because it'll be worth it for rich people to get married, have an open relationship. Everything will be contractual. It'll be like literally an employment agreement. If you breach the contract, maybe there's a fine you have to pay. But that's what I think we're doing, right? That's the reality of where it's going. So that's the story. You guys have been great. This is Rebel Against Defeat, Chase Excellence, Masculinity. Stay safe out there. Men first. See you on Sunday.